questions about your conversation with Rickards yesterday, and what sort of takeaways you had. It's always interesting and informing to get an update from him. Anything noteworthy that came out of that conversation?
And we did get, I think his name's Jack Monroe, a very astute observer of the Hedgeye process, pays attention to everything that a lot of what I say, because I know that he's very quick to say stuff on Twitter, and I appreciate that, Jack. And he's like, hey, look, like it sounded like you agreed with him on deflation, what up? I'm like, no. That's not what you should have heard. You should have heard me say stagflation multiple times, first of all. Secondly, on deflation, that's a Q2 2022 thing, Jack. So it's a classic example of duration mismatch. So when you get somebody like Rickards, who's longer term deflation outlook, it is what it is. That wouldn't have been a good thing to be positioned for, to be very clear, against being long inflation for the whole cycle that we've been long it. And it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean like, oh, they disagree. It's not what this game's about. I have these conversations with Jim Rickards, to Jonesy's point, to learn a lot. That guy could teach you a lot if you have the ability to listen and not be tweaked relative to your current positioning and or whatever your political bias is. Yeah. The minute he starts talking Republicans, some people are, hey, can't handle it! Can't! Like, why are you that way? Don't be that way. Don't be that way. Imagine hockey players on a bench reacted that way, like because their parents have a certain political view. As soon as they say something, like it's just stop it. Listen to what he's saying. So what I heard, which may or may not be construed as a political comment, was actually, now that I have it on the board, the most important thing in my notebook. You can see it right here. It's like right here. It says under my ETH. It says cycle highs, higher highs versus Afghan ? Rickards USD. Why did I write that down? That's the one thing that he made me think about that is going to either augment my positioning or not in the most important thing, or one of the top things in macro, which is the direction of the dollar. Right? So what this is signaling to me is that, and he said this, so if you put in the Afghanistan plug, he said, look, this is an explicit or implicit devaluation of the dollar in the eyes of a certain community of people that don't trust the Americans anymore, and the Americans don't trust themselves. Something like that. And he was highlighting, I believe, and I did write this guy's name, Eric Prince's views on geopolitics. Yep. And I was like, that makes sense. You can tell me a story about anything. I'm willing to believe it if the signal does. And that sounds like a pretty plausible one to me. It doesn't mean that I have to believe or disbelieve in some political thing. But the dollar's credibility has certainly lost something on two fronts. And it's not just Afghanistan. I think anybody who's objective would say that, yeah, they did. But the dollar lost credibility in Afghanistan relative to crypto, relative to the euro, and it lost credibility from Powell. Two big arenas, right? Geopolitical and monetary policy.
Okay, we're gonna.
And I thought Rickards, by the way, did a great job reminding you of why U.S. monetary policy has no credibility.
Yep.
They have no credibility at all in forecasting, nowcasting, or telling you what the future is going to be or could be or otherwise.